Hey there everyone, and welcome back to part 14 of our playthrough of Bacon Pines. We just got into chapter 8, so let's get going.
The cold, hard truth. Beck leapt up, allowing the suction to yank her into the dark. Dimness eclipsed around her like the shutter of a camera as she seemed to cover great distance in mere moments. Her only points of reference were glints of upcoming turns, which approached with frightening speed, only to carom her gracefully along. She heard the tinny, distant echoes of Rollo's glee. Once she stopped fighting against it, the ride was impossibly smooth. Then, all of a sudden, as if minutes had passed in an instant, light blazed into view. A burst of wintry air snuffed across her face, and she was flung out into the cold.
That was intense. Yeah. I think I might party with some fluids in there. Any idea where we are? Somewhere cold. Doesn't look like got in. Doesn't look like it got in any of us. It didn't feel like we traveled that far. So where did it all go? This place sucks. Why would anyone even want to blow something up out here? Only one way to find out, I suppose. We gotta catch up to Nuncrete. I think he went this way. But this looks like the place where our house isn't up here, where Lucas' father's grave is. And the real is like it's like Stranger Things. This looks familiar, yeah. Maybe we can clear off the snow. No time. Nuncrete's getting away. Let's get going. Oh, there's some... Okay, this is starting to feel really familiar. I may not be the most well-versed in all things Bacon Pines, but this does look like some sort of frozen replica of town. I get it. It's so obvious now. Mr. Nuncrete is an alien. Rollo, stick with me here. His species can only live in sub-zero temperatures. Oh boy, here we go. The source is the base camp dimension, so naturally they keep it cold. We found it by traveling through those metallic wormholes back there. The final objective: kill us all and shapeshift into a Bacon Pine citizen of their choosing. You never really had me, but you very much lost me there. You get used to it. We should keep moving. Let's go then.
As they rounded the corner to the frozen town square, they spotted Mr. Nuncrete inching cautiously toward a pit at its center. He held his arms out gingerly, as if approaching a beast in the wild.
Uh-oh.
Upon closing the distance, Luca recognized what Nuncrete was after. Gran stood confidently at the edge, one arm outstretched over the abyss. Nearby, a wheelbarrow had been emptied out. She held a lit torch, which flickered in the bitter wind.
Juniper, I don't know what you think you're doing, but I assure you this is not going to solve anything. If you drop that, you doom this whole town. Oh, it wasn't me who doomed this town. I've been watching you, Joseph. I know what you done. You and your co-conspirators. Gran, what's happening? Luca, you and your friends need to leave right this moment.
Mr. Nuncrete turned back toward the kids, desperation in his eyes.
Listen to your grandma, Luca. This is between me and Juniper.
Rollo and Beck held steadfast in awe. Luca approached closer. Mr. Nuncrete spun back toward Gran, his voice growing louder.
You got it all wrong, Juniper. Just hand over that torch. You don't understand what you're doing. How could I possibly trust you to do the right thing? Walt told me everything. He trusted you, and you betrayed that trust. Luca, did you know that this man's entire life is a lie? If it weren't for him, your father might still be alive.
Mr. Nuncreed winced with anguish. His voice hardened.
That's not true.
They both now yelled, not to each other, but at fate itself, making their peace with long-held burdens. The wind howled with encouragement.
Paul was like a brother to me. We just had different ideas about how to effect change. Very convenient that your way just happened to line your pockets. Now that's not fair.
They menaced at each other, both catching their breath. The moment balanced on a knife's edge. Amid a blur of emotions and memories, Luca's mind flooded with questions. The wind calmed, as if to give him the stage.
And in the stillness he began to weep.
And in the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just too much. Falling to his knees, Luca whimpered softly. The tears crystallized as they hit the snow. Gran stared at Luca for a moment with warm sympathy, remembering why this was all necessary.
This'll all make sense soon, Luca. Then everything can go back to normal. I promise.
She stiffened up and brandished the torch at Mr. Nuncreed.
You can't hide behind those people any longer, Joseph. Once their precious source is destroyed, we'll see where their loyalties fall. Juniper, don't.
Ignoring his final plea, Gran flung the torch into the deep darkness.
No.
She smiled and exhaled in relief. Mr. Nuncreed moaned in resignation. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunderous thud.
Oh, no. You see, Joseph, I learned one very important lesson in life. If you want things to change, then you must be willing to...
Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence.
Oh no. Here it comes. We got frozen again.
Gran only had time to spin around and run to Luca. Her attempt to shield him, an honorable but trifling act. Unflinching love, pitted against an unthinking horror. There was no contest. Her warm embrace froze in an instant.
Jesus.
That is where they remain, fixed in place, forever. And so, our story ends on this melancholy scene. In a town brought low by its secrets, sits the frozen statues of a misguided band of meddlers. The end. Well, that was dire. On the bright side, we finally figured out where all the ice is coming from. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a mystic, unfathomable force of nature.
Let's see what we can do. Chill. We can go over here. I think we'll try this tree first. It will be a chill cup now. Chill cup.
They'd run the classic good cop, chill cop interrogation.
I'll handle this. Just gotta play cool.
Luca walked calmly to the light switch, flicking it off and on a few times. Mr. Tolliver shook his head, gathering his wits.
Golly, I sure got my bill
He
wrong.
looked over to find Luca, who returned a calming grin.
Sorry, Mr. Tolliver. This was all a big mistake. Luca, what's going on here? Why do you have me strapped down? No one's fault, really. Rollo just got a little startled. Rollo's here.
Rollo and Beck emerged from hiding to give a timid wave.
Well, alright. Mistakes happen. You kids get old Hiram a good scare. Let's just get me out these ropes and call it even.
Luca glanced over to Rollo and Beck, who replied with skeptical looks.
Mr. Tolliver, why in my grand's basement? I'm here to help, of course. Help with what? What's my gran up to? If you just cut me loose, I can show you. How do you know we can trust you?
Mr. Tolliver exhaled with disappointment.
Luca, have I ever done wrong by you? No. And since your gran moved to town, haven't I been nothing but welcoming? Yeah. So why would I turn my back on your family now? It's just... all this stuff seems pretty weird. A board with names of people from town, an archive of my dad's old disturbing patient notes.
Luca gestured to the corner.
Barrels of explosives? I can explain everything. You just need to untie me. Your kids deserve an explanation.
Luca looked again to Rollo and Beck. This time they shrugged. Luca began to slowly loosen the bindings. Mr. Tolliver gently rubbed his wrists.
That's a good lad. This'll all make sense in time.
He edged imperceptibly toward the stairs as he spoke.
Don't you make a run for it. Don't be a runner. You see, this town has secrets, Luca. A very dark past indeed.
Before the kids had even noticed his movement, Mr. Tolliver was at the light switch.
A past that must be brought
He
to...
punctuated his final words by flicking the switch and rushing up the stairs.
light. Son of a...
Beck darted to the wall and turned back on the lights. It was too late. Rollo confirmed what they all heard.
He just locked us down here.
Mr. Tolliver's muffled voice came from behind the door.
I wasn't lying, you know. This is for your own good. You kid just need to keep tight down there and let the adults handle this.
They looked bewildered at each other.
Played cool, huh? Not now, Beck.
They heard the staccato thump of quick steps exiting the house. The kids looked down in resignation. This isn't how it goes in Hank Atomic. For some reason, they'd always assumed it was up to them to save their town. Luca opened his mouth, hoping to conjure some magical words to make this right. Only a hollow croak escaped. The end.
Oh, sad.
Well, we certainly aren't going to find a grand resolution to our tale locked in a basement. Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. So, there's only one option left, and that is to flight.
Luca drew
Let's
himself
escape.
up and decided to take the only option they had left. Flight. He squinted down the barrel of the mission control defense cannon, aiming it through an opening in the dense tree branches. He looked up with surprise as it struck true and taut.
Wow, I can't believe that worked. Hey, Mr. Kerr. We'd love to hear your thoughts, but I'm afraid we have places to be. Come on, Iggy. See ya, jerks. Fine, we know where that leads them. This way, we'll take the tunnels.
Luca and Iggy winced as they sprinted through the thicket. The branches clawed at them, reluctant to give passage. After what felt like a marathon, Luca stopped in his tracks as they reached the clearing. What the? That was all he was able to say before Iggy slammed into his back. The boys tumbled down a steep decline and crashed with a wheezing thud on a surface as hard as ice. In fact, it was ice. Chapter 5.
And on that note, my friends, we'll end this episode. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
Hey there, and thanks for watching. Please leave a like and a subscribe. I've been YoungishSpoon. See you next time.